kid that got lost.
Hey, welcome back to What's the Story? You're going to intro our show today.
I'm sorry?
I said, are you going to intro our show today?
Drum roll, please.
That's right. That's right. Here we are. What's the Story? Part 2. All right. Happy to have everybody here. And starting my clock, if it'll start. There
on
it goes.
On the first, I guess we call it a segment, right?
Yeah,
On the
first hour.
First link.
First hour, yeah.
Did you remember to push the record button?
I did, yes. We actually were live for the first hour. We had quite a few people listening on YouTube as well as on Facebook. So that was nice, and we appreciate you guys listening.
Well, it's interesting times. I think people are looking for good information. It is election time. It's not that far away.
No, it's not.
You know,
Absolutely not. So, yeah, but we are here in our second half of What's the Story. And again, we air on, all sorts of Facebook, YouTube. Next time it'll be on Rumble. My live stream link went away. I don't know what happened there, but it did. So we'll bring it back. So we'll be on Rumble as well. And I will upload this to Rumble also for a repeat. And then it airs, we re-air this on 93.7 via America Matters Media. And we have partnered with them, and we're happy to say that we will be happy to share your shows too. If you've got a show that you're doing, you'd like to be heard on 93.7 in Northern Nevada, get a hold of us. It doesn't matter where you are in the country, actually in the world, you can be heard.
Bring your innuendo and get on board.
well, you know, when she said, this is where we air, I thought she was going to say, we always err on the safe side.
So there was a time when that was true. I don't believe that is the operating procedure lately.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't want to post your comment on Facebook or YouTube, you can always text. And that just comes direct to us here in the studio to 775-399-2888. So be happy to take that text and share your comments.
Yeah, and I was going to say, it's not like we're that hard to find. Best I know, you can find me on LinkedIn. My phone number's there. You got questions,
right?
Shoot them at us.
That's right.
We love we love hearing others' opinions, right? I mean,
we do.
We get tired of Ed's and Doug's opinion, but Jan's and right. But anyway, we love.
I think they get tired of me too.
We love opinions.
Yeah, we
bring yours.
You bet.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you. So yeah, we're ready to rock and roll here. And
here's just another little news bleep
that
I pulled off the internet before I came in here. It says California electric companies to turn off power for thousands of residents amid extreme heat wave and raging fires. Well, that's a lot deeper than you think that headline is. But isn't it amazing how they do that? They make it, they're always in the middle of the road.
Don't you have your information booklet from NV Energy in your email and your text saying they're going to do the exact same thing?
Yeah, well, I get I get stuff from in California over in Paso Robles. They send me stuff from the power company over there, and they'll say we're turning off your electricity at such and such a time. The reason that they do that is that what happens is if one of these wires breaks and hits the ground, you're going to have a fire.
So likely it's been happening since the beginning of time until recently. They just started taking responsibility for it, and then they go bankrupt and nothing ever happens, but right? Nobody gets, there's no criminal prosecution.
Doesn't it sound like they're making this a negative headline? California electric companies to turn off power for thousands of residents amid an extreme heat wave.
Whoever wrote that didn't think their article was juicy enough without
it's fear. It's always
it's fear. The same as government,
right? Fear, concern, what
are we gonna do?
when I was growing up in Southern California, most of the time, if we had air conditioning, it wasn't great and it was hotter than Hades, and we seemed to manage to get through it. Old people as well as young people, and it just seemed to work.
In the community where I grew up, Eagle Rock, which is a segment of Los Angeles, that we had the local theater. It was called the Eagle Theater, and they had this big sign that it says, "Come on in, it's air conditioned inside." That's because nobody had air conditioning.
That's right. The schools certainly didn't. The schools didn't have air conditioning.
Well, right. And that's a whole nother thing, right? Cost and all that stuff. But so when I was a kid, I can remember we had hardwood floors. I was 8 or something. It was so hot that I was on a sheet on the hardwood floors in the hallway with fan on me and a pillow. And that's where I was sleeping in the hallway chute on the floor.
Well, you know what? The air conditioning is, when I went to college, LA State, it was a big whoopee-doo. They started one by one air conditioning the different buildings, because in the summer, the air conditioning was opening the window.
Yeah.
I mean, that was literally that.
Well, right. Cars didn't have.
Well, I remember in high school, I went to Alameda down in the Southern California area. And I remember rounding a corner and I'd always see the windows wide open. So, we didn't have air conditioning, In fact, I knocked my head into one of them.
That's all of this.
That's my brilliance.
All of this is when Ed finally learned to wear a hat when he was out.
It's the same as air conditioning is the same as phones, right? Best I know, I didn't get them till I was 30. I get sick in it. Like if you live in Las Vegas or Phoenix or one of these places that are brutally hot forever, you go from one air conditioning to another, I'm sick.
Oh.
I mean, I don't.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't much like it. I don't have air conditioning at home.
You don't?
Nope.
Well, we do, but we rarely turn it on because what we do is at night we open up all the windows. It gets down into the 60s.
Yeah.
In the morning when I get up, usually 6, 7 o'clock, something like that, I close all the windows. It's cool enough in the house to keep us cool all day. No, it's not cool to 68 degrees or whatever.
Right.
But it's comfortable.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, Ed, you want to share some finance talk with us this afternoon?
So I just thought we could step back and look at the wonderful big picture. I've told my personal story a number of times, but so President Biden took office after COVID. Inflation rambled at 9%, right? Here we are virtual 4 years later, 3.5 years later. It's still about 3.6. It's still out of the box. It's taken him a full term and he still doesn't have control of it. And in fact, I saw a statement, I think it was at Brian Moynihan of B of A, that basically said the mortgage market's stuck. And he said that, and I again saw a number, existing home sales, like you think it can't go down, went down again.
Uh-oh.
And so really all they're selling is new homes. And at 7%, homes, I think the average national price around 400 grand, people can't touch it.
Right. It's true.
And it, more than that, people need to prepare themselves because things will get better. Will you be in a position to perform? Right. I think people need to put themselves in positions to perform just in case situations change.
Yeah. Well, and you should always have, a plan B, right?
Well, you got that. The Fed's meeting, best I know, our Fed Chairman Powell is speaking in front of Congress, I think today, about their inflation defense. They're looking to lower rates, which, folks, lowering rates increases inflation. Increases plus, right? So if we're gonna get to 2 and we're not at 2, you can't let it go. I mean, it's not rocket science.
Well, but it must be because nobody in the big pointy building in Washington
The
D.C.
big
gets
pointy
it.
building. I love that.
You know, I'll tell you what drives inflation? Unbridled spending from the federal government. And what does Biden do? Has he got that word that you have to cut the spending? No.
How much money? I mean, I think we should literally look by day. Every day I see something, 53 million going to Ukraine, 52 million going to mental health hospitals, 52 going to DACA people. Every day he's giving money away to a group.
Well, wait a minute, take it one step further. The Supreme Court, United States Supreme Court, says you cannot pay student loans. Pretty straightforward. The president doesn't have the purse strings. Congress does. So you cannot do it. So what does he do? Continues to do it.
So, right, but it's the opposite of the border where he goes, oh, the courts will throw it out. Where in school, the courts have thrown it out 5-6 times. However, he does have a point. When you have like people below the poverty line, there are government laws that kick in with respect to student loans.
Well,
why are you laughing? You're gonna have to share with us.
If what you're saying is that Congress put in rules so people below the poverty line can.
Where do grants come from? Where do they all come from that? That's all what that is.
Well, but if it's from Congress, that's the way it's designed.
Well,
but it's not designed. Our form of government is not designed for the president to come up and say, you know what, I like this cause over here. I'm going to give them $1 bazillion, which to me brings up a question.
Every president does that.
Pardon?
Every president has a cause and gives $1 bazillion. It may be a different cause, but they all give them.
Well, here's a question that I've never heard answered. Do you remember when President Obama packaged up literally a crate or several pallets of cash over to Iran and gave them money? Where did that money come from? The president doesn't have money. Congress does, but somehow the president found that money to be able to send it over there. And that was a boondoggle.
There's always a slush fund in between like new appropriations and old money not yet sent. And they overlap with those, right? All we need to do is get like, oh, we should probably call the
well, if I hear what you're saying, the system's broken.
Well, any company, Doug, has bookkeepers, right, that look at stuff, but every president has its own causes and either gets donations, support for it, whatever. Biden's just are all around electors. You know, he's about trying to buy votes, I think.
I think that's the kind of the general rule out there. But Trump is no different. Because what did he do? How is he buying them? And unfortunately, I really kind of agree with this because the tips that workers make up until several years ago was never taxed. And then
you agree with that? Do you leave a little card that says Trump won't tax your tips?
So I don't think that's true, Doug. I mean, all the people in casinos the IRS and casinos have a deal so that they pay tips. They collect them, they do their procedures and pay them. But those guys have been paying tips for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. All of them pay tips. Maybe if they get cash, they don't claim their full amount, but everybody has to pay taxes on tips.
No, taxing tips is relatively new. I'll say within the last 10 years. I don't remember exactly what it was.
No, it hasn't been.
There is not a new tax in the world.
I don't think that's true.
There is always a new tax.
No, it's the same old ones redone. It's just a repeat, right? Taxes, they've taxed everything they can tax.
You tell me what's out there that we don't tax. Well, one of the things that I don't hear people in an uproar.
1963, tips started being taxed in the United States.
1963?
1963.
Yeah, like I was saying,
that wasn't
50
10
years ago.
So, right, Doug, that was
Sorry, sir.
six. So that was my lifetime ago, roughly. Right.
Here's what
Yep.
Gavin Newsom.
I was born at
Pretty much.
61.
I was going to say,
Gavin
yeah.
Newsom in
pretty
California. Oh, they're always looking for new ways to get money out of you. One of the things, and he's floated several trial balloons, and several states in this great country are also trying to do it, is that you tell them, you send them how many miles a year that you drive, and you will pay taxes on those miles you drive. Tell me that isn't going to hurt a bunch of people. It certainly hurt
Well,
me.
that's regular stuff, right? You get a certain amount of personal miles per vehicle, and if you claim to itemize, you bear the proof of proving all that stuff. If you do the standard deduction at $20,000+ that are
This is
that
different.
President Trump
No, he's
kindly
talking
put
about
in.
something
This is-
else.
I'm talking about regular people, not rich people.
No.
Rich people have more than 20,000 in deductions or medical challenges. If they're not rich or don't have a medical challenge, they're doing the standard deduction.
Well, you talk about rich people, inflation benefits rich people.
That's exactly true. And that's the Biden elite, right?
Yeah. Which is
Educated,
why they don't care.
educated people with.
That's why they don't care
Yep.
that it's there.
And
In fact,
I
they're glad.
saw on Scripps News today, they were talking about how that those people with masters, 80% of them trust institutions.
Oh,
Like the government, the exact opposite of us.
Do you agree with that, Doug?
oh no, I don't buy.
You're an
I knew he had a master's. That's why I asked.
You're an institution truster too. You worked in it.
He is.
I have
yeah.
a master's degree, and I'll tell you what. I think our government has. I don't want to say outlived its usefulness, but it's certainly borderlining on it.
Steve wants you to know that someone has a squeaky chair. Yes, Steve, we know. Sorry.
It must be Doug.
Yeah, it's got to be Doug.
I think
we got rid of it last time, but we forgot this time.
I think
so.
it's switched out. I do have it.
Oh, do you have it?
I can hear
Oh,
it. He's right.
I thought it was Doug. Yeah, we switched it out last time, but we forgot this time, so we'll get it next time.
I'll try
Or we'll
not-
get some WD-40.
I'll try not to breathe.
That's funny. Yeah, we did good last time, but we were in a hurry today.
But that financial stuff's a big deal to me because we get into student loans and stuff. To me, our country's the same. If someone can be born of whatever parents, they can lift themselves up. They can go to college. They can be all they can be and potentially be president. If that can happen, our government's broken. Everybody has to have a shot.
Well, do you know what this deal?
Poor folks have to have a shot.
Student loans was absolutely the biggest boondoggle you could ever come up with. People are always people. So, here you got a guy that's going to college. He can't afford it. He borrows the money. Government says, okay, we'll give you 20 grand or whatever. And you know what? The institution says, he's got 20 extra grand. Let's crank up the tuition. So they cranked up the tuition. So now the next year comes around, they go, well, I still can't afford it. Well, we'll give you an extra 10 grand. And so the institutions again go, he's got extra money.
So what did they do to you
So-
when you went to community college,
Yeah.
right? Those were free.
Yeah,
They tax
absolutely.
California, they tax everybody,
Yeah.
not just the people going.
Well,
true.
here's something.
It's everybody.
Again, here's your Gavin Newsom, what he does. And matter of fact, I blame it on Gavin Newsom because it happened in California. Most of your institutions now are saying, hey, wait a minute. These community colleges are free. So what's happening is these kids are now transferring in as juniors. We're losing 2 years of money coming into this institution.
Hey, we have a solution. I got to tell you.
Do you know what the institutions say?
Hmm.
Okay. You can only go to these schools and major in this before you can transfer over as a junior. So they put a lock on that. Kids can't even go to a community college to lower the cost of an institution that they want to go to. They locked that up too. And it's all right on the heels of this feel-good politics, student loans. They have at some of the bigger institutions where the librarian is making $350,000 a year.
That's regular stuff.
All right. Well, I got to tell you guys, though, President Biden just signed an executive order to fix the chair.
To fix what?
The chair. Problem solved. He didn't get it. Steve says President Biden just signed an executive order to fix the chair.
So it's just like the rest of his executive orders. None of them work. They don't stop anything. Hold it. Let me check. Oh, President Biden, sorry. We're still squeaking.
Yeah. That's not the chair.
Sorry.
That's my shoulder.
Oh, so Doug, I know you've got a fire story for us. Thank you for sharing
You know what?
your
This is
insights.
this
And
is
Doug, you too.
thank you. This was really, really interesting. Again, this is Southern California because it's LA County, which is, my department, the one that I work for, and Orange County, or what they call the Orange County Fire Authority. LA County Fire Department has 200 fire stations. Orange County has right around 80 fire stations, but they're growing too because these governments find that community fire protection works and it's not as expensive. So what happens is we compare the two. Well, Orange County Fire Department, it's kind of a weird deal that one of their fire stations caught on fire.
Yes.
And fortunately, the engine was out on a rescue, and they came back. And here are the guys. Literally, this is in the middle of winter.
Is this the one?
Yeah, this
On
is
June 26th?
Yes.
Orange County Fire Station 61 and Los Angeles County Fire Station 164.
Yeah, 164.
Yep.
Yeah.
Both firehouses shared very similar building layouts, and both fires started in their app bay.
They
Just a
didn't have
random
like
when the
they
guys-
didn't like making breakfast and they got a fire call and left the bacon on.
Oh, that was LA County.
I know that's a regular thing. It's a deal.
No, but can you imagine getting your engine back to your fire station and you see all the guys standing out there in the middle of winter in their underwear fighting a fire?
That'd be like the homeless folks in their RVs lined up on the side of the street.
So now fast forward a couple of years and guess what happens in LA County, Station 164. Station 160, well, no, that's not the same. The two stations between Orange County and LA County were done by the same architect.
Right.
And Janice and I talked about this before. Same vintage I think it's within 10 years that they go to, hey, a smaller department goes to a bigger department, says, hey, where'd you get the plans for this? They said such and such architecture. And he goes over there and says, yeah, here it is, but you got to pay for it. So anyway.
Well, right. It's like all government. They pay
exactly.
double for something that doesn't work.
So these,
right? They pay extra for stuff that doesn't work.
These two fire stations are pretty much identical. And one of the unique things, and I'm going to put it out here on the air, I'm probably going to get kicked later for it.
What?
Well,
what are you going to get kicked for?
Yeah. Sick one of
Who's
your
kicking you?
tigers on them.
Who's kicking you?
Station 164.
Because I'm going to share your page that you shared with me. Is that okay?
Station 164. A guy got up in the middle of the night and saw smoke, right? Well, why didn't the smoke detectors go off? You know why?
They didn't have batteries in them.
Well, they didn't have them, period.
Oh, no.
Exactly.
That wasn't in the
no.
architect's rendering.
Oh, man. Yes,
So I'm sharing
exactly.
that page right now.
But
There it
see,
is.
the same thing, these guys, well, I talked to my oldest boy is a battalion chief with Orange County. And I asked him, I said, well, did they ever get a cause on what caused the fire in Orange County at that fire station? And they said, no, they haven't put it out officially, but everybody knows what it was. it was the ladder truck, or people say, hook and ladder, the biggest piece of
Right,
equipment that
right.
they have. They were
So there
fighting.
it is. It's on the screen now.
They kept going to the shop and saying, hey, something's the matter here with this. The shop had sent it back. You guys are crazy. It's fine. And finally one night it caught on fire. LA County now, guess what? Their truck company also catches on fire. So I just read an article, matter of fact, due to this, and they say there is the common denominators, not the batteries, it's the battery charger for these.
So
And
if you're
that's
watching
what-
and you want to look at that page, I did put a link into our
Yeah,
our
that's
comments.
but what I like to put out there for people who are listening, if you think it always happens to the other guy, you better think again, because this happens. LA County, as a matter of fact, I wrote about it in my book, was we had one of our fire stations. Matter of fact, I took the call on it when it happened. We had, with the 911 system, we had this little screen, and when somebody would call, up in the corner it would say coin if it was a payphone. So this kid is calling, he's yelling, fire, 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 like this, and I look up and I see it says coin, and I'm thinking, oh, I knew the fire station, I knew exactly where the payphone was. And he says, your fire station's on fire. And I go, right, come on, I can tell with, this. And then he said, when I knocked on the door, all of a sudden all the lights went out and there's smoke coming out of the back.
No.
Oh man, I reversed direction.
Yes.
Then
Wow.
so the engine company was there, which caused the fire. They were out on an incident, and they beamed themselves back. Well, the first in fire captain says, there's a protocol for what you say when you get there. Engine 145 at scene, single story building. He didn't say fire station, building with light smoke.
So that would have been innuendo.
One of the guys that was on a rescue squad was around back, and he comes on the radio and says, I don't know where you are. There's no light smoke at all. It's belching fire out of the back of the fire station. This isn't going to look good on a resume, I'll tell you.
No, not a bit.
But the bottom line is, check your smoke detectors, because this stuff does happen. It happens to ordinary people, and it happens very, very quickly. So yeah, it does
happens.
happen.
Yeah, it does happen.
So, all right, let me ask a question to you two guys. Do you change the batteries in your smoke detectors?
I do.
Only when it goes beeping.
Yeah, when it beeps. Yeah.
Only.
Do you have more than one?
Oh God, I got 500.
Yeah.
I don't think
I had things in the hallway.
I was going to say, I don't think I have more
answer
than
me
one.
this.
I think I have one.
Answer me this question. Why are, and I think I know, but I'll ask anyway. So why are all the fire or the smoke alarms in all the back, and there are none in the front? There are none in like the living room or the family room. And this is a house that was built in 2014.
It's a common sense thing, because
Yeah,
people up and are active. And
You
not
won't
only-
see them now either, because
Not
they're hidden, right? People didn't like them because they were ugly.
No, mine were visible.
Here's something. And everybody, I'll bet you we don't have a listener out there that hasn't cooked something in the kitchen. And had the
that's what I
smoke
thought
detector
about too.
go
Yeah.
off.
When
So-
John cooked it, the smoke
So,
detector
yeah.
always went off. My children are now laughing because it was just a standard.
In my house, this is rich people's houses.
Oh, I know. You don't have to tell me. But the listening audience now knows.
When one smoke detector goes off, they're all wired together, so all of them go off.
Oh.
Yeah, trust me.
And that rich guy, he's got more than one floor to deal with.
Well,
so.
that's right. And I bet I was a rich guy once. And so I had that one that was like up 30 feet, like above nothing, right?
Oh.
And so you need like the power lift to get there. And that thing goes off, 1 a.m.? It starts the chirping and you can't get there. Right? You got to hire a professional to like get there to get the battery
you
out.
Listen to that
Well,
for
this
That
hours.
was crushing.
Yeah.
This is a tale of a firefighter right here that I'm going to tell you. One night I woke up with our smoke detector. This is several houses ago when we were in Lake Forest, and man, that thing was going off. And so I did like I tell people: when you get out of bed, you don't stand up, you crouch or you crawl. So we were on the second floor, and I went over to the top of the staircase, and I went over and I reached up and I turned the light on. Nothing. It was all in my head. I was dreaming.
That's
it.
pretty funny.
Less smoke that way, though.
Well, I'm going to switch gears on us now because I want to share my little adventure on Sunday. I went to the Sierra Arts Literary Community Meeting, and Jackie Turner was kind enough to invite me to do a presentation. So I did a little presentation about LaRue and our audio room, and let everybody know kind of how you could go about doing this stuff. But if you're a writer, you really ought to check these folks out because they are going to also have a bookstore. You can't have enough bookstores. We have a bookstore here, but you can never have enough of them. So
They'll be connected like the Silver Legacy in El Dorado.
That's right.
We'll have sewer connections.
So the Sierra Arts Literary Community Meeting is at the Sierra Arts Building. The bookstore is on Victorian, I believe. And all you have to do is get a hold of Jackie Turner and join the Northern Nevada Writers. This is an open group. I've got it on the screen now. And a lot of great folks there. We talked a lot about the books that they've got. There are also artists that are involved in this. So if you're an artist, you can do that as well. And it was great. Talked about traditional publishing, hybrid, self-publishing. And all these folks are pretty versed in what they were doing. Mostly, I ended up having wonderful guests that we're going to have on our show here because a lot of them already have books that are published. So we'll be interviewing them here on What's the Story and also on the LaRue Network because there's a lot of them. So I probably won't be able to do them all. If I did once a week, we'd probably be all the way to the end of the year. So, but we'll be getting them on here and having them join us. So if you're a writer or an artist, check it out. Go to the Northern Nevada Writers, talk to Jackie or any of them there, join the group and get to know them because it was lots of fun. Great space. You can see it's an empty room here, but lots of room for chairs and lots of things going on. So it was good. It was good. You ought to have your book in there and,
Well,
so.
Recently I've flown and I was at the airport.
Do you have wings?
So it was like Doug. I woke up, right? I woke up and everyone. But no, at the airport, right? They have amateur artists or things hanging on the wall, along with literary stuff.
Right,
I think,
right.
and I love that.
Yeah,
right?
it
It's
is.
an
And
exposure to the area.
Our town used to do a lot of that, where they would have the books as well as the artists.
Right.
And we always did our book cover award. We do a contest for that. So yeah, it's a great thing to combine art and literature. It's a good thing. Fun. Lots of fun.
I would like to kind of encourage anybody that's listening, if they want to write, the best way to start is to start. That sounds silly.
No, it isn't silly.
But I have found that
Ed, just start.
Yeah.
So well, I've given this
Steve,
a bunch of evaluation, just like knowing my brother.
Right.
My brother is a storyteller.
He is.
Right?
Yes.
Go back to the Indians, right? He's a storyteller. I've never been.
Well, okay. I guess I'll buy that.
But in life, people that are storytellers and people that are not.
It's true.
Just say thumbs up for
Was that a story I just heard?
I'm just saying certain people are better at storytelling than others, obviously.
No, it is true.
But
it is true. But what you were talking about doing wasn't necessarily even storytelling. It was more about article writing, which is very different. I'm not a big storyteller either. I would consider myself more of a journalist, citizen journalist, than a storyteller. Doug's a storyteller, even though his is nonfiction, but he tells stories.
Doug tells stories, right? Doug is a
Yes.
storyteller.
Yes,
The nice thing about it is that once you get into the story, you can make it what you want.
Yeah.
One of the things that
I always forget.
I used to tell the guys that I would work with, I was captain and you had this crew there. And I used to tell them, I said, you know what? By virtue of the fact that you guys are asking me a question, I can give you an answer. I can just make it up. And they looked at me and they said, yeah, that's true. So then it became a game. They would ask me a question and I would make up an answer. And they would all look at each other and they'd say, you think that's the truth? I don't know. It sounds like it was.
What year was that?
Last week.
Oh, I was going to say it was a precursor to our modern campaigns, but no, you might be copying it.
No, we had so much fun with that, and we had laughed. And then there are just certain things in life when you tell the story, you think, oh man, that can't be true. Matter of fact, when you're telling it, you go, God, this sounds like it's not true, but it really is,
Yeah.
And then they would.
If you want to see some good stories, get Heroes and Giants, and you'll hear all of Doug's stories. They're very interesting.
I had
and
a
if
lot
you're
of fun.
thinking about being a firefighter, or you're a part of a firefighter's family, you might want to read it just because he blends both the work life as well as his personal life.
And just in redoing or mentioning the name Heroes and Giants, it just
and he is a giant.
Well, right. See the connection? He had the giant connection, that
He was
6'2", 6'9" thing going on already. He's got the Giants in there.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's one of the things. I'm reading a book right now. It's called Frozen River, and I wish I could remember the author to it. I'm in the middle of it, and I'm sorry I can't mention her name, but she is a great. It's a good story. It carries you through, but there isn't a sentence that she doesn't add to. I mean,
Ariel Lawhon, Lawhon.
Yes, she's written several books, but she is a very flowering writer. And I look at that.
She's got all sorts of flowers on her book.
She does.
Yeah.
Let me share this screen here. Give me a second and I'll get that on there. Go ahead, Doug. I can do that while you talk.
Yeah. No, she's I don't want to say embellish it, but embellish almost is like you're lying. She colors it, I guess is the best way to say. Every single sentence that she does, she colors. And you go, wow, I would have just said, gee, I put my book on the table. But she'll describe the table. She'll describe how you put the book on the table. She would describe what hand the book came out of.
Well, it says Maine, 1789, when the Kennebec River freezes, entombing a man in the ice. Oof.
Yeah, it's good.
Yuck. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've been so busy lately. I usually try to read an hour every morning.
Do they bring him back to life like in all cartoons? The
so
frozen dude in the ice cube, do they chip him out?
Yeah.
Is that your Book Blitz book?
I'm sorry?
Is that your Book Blitz book?
No, I do have a
I
do have a book
today?
Blitz
No,
book.
neither do I.
I do have a book.
Well, you're the only one, so we're going to let you have two because you've got The Frozen River, which is by Ariel Lawhon, who's the author, and you can see it there on the screen if you're watching. And it looks like kind of an interesting book. So go ahead and share your other one.
Oh, this is a great one. I actually had this last week, and then I thought I took it out of last week's notes, and I wait a minute, did we do Book Blitz last week? Nope. So,
no, we didn't because
it was our first time in the new studio.
Yeah, but this is
and the engineer had a little
this really I like to do kind of up things, and this is certainly up. It's called Upworthy: Good People, Stories from the Best of Humanity, and it's by B.B. Raylich and Lucia Keel. And it's an inspiring counterbalance to today's daunting news cycle. This timely book is a go-to resource for comfort and joy. It says for anyone who could use proof that the world is filled with good people, this beautifully illustrated book features 101 stories of human decency and upworthy. I don't know if there is such a word.
Was
it
like published in like 1680?
No, actually. do you know what? It's kind of funny. It hasn't been published. You have to order it. So it's not out
so
on
it's
the
scheduled
common
for
market.
release on September
It says-
3rd. September 3rd.
It says, rippling with emotion, humor, and honesty, the tales collected here are mined from the community's comments section in response to such questions as, what's the kindest thing a stranger has ever done for you?
But you can't read it if it's not released, right?
Well, you can order it.
Oh,
So, yeah. But anyway, isn't it nice?
It's on the screen if you're interested in ordering it. There's where you pre-order. That's how much it is. We don't get paid for this.
Isn't it nice? There's somebody out there that's thinking, well, hey, let's see if we can sell some good humor, right?
Now, I'm kind of with you, but unfortunately, it's probably the unsavory types that are going, ooh, this like wholehearted, this happy, healthy, honest thing kind of sells.
The kindest of strangers, learned by heart. It's the little things. The kids are all right, and when I needed it most, and away from home. So I guess if you're looking for, feel-good stories, that's the place to go.
But
I have to be in the right frame of mind.
Wait a minute.
To
Can I tell a story then?
Yeah, that's self-help. Right.
When I was with the fire department, when I was sitting in the communications center, and every night, any communication worth its while has 40 or 50 telephone lines coming into it,
Okay.
right? So we would get beat calls from the news media every night. Well, you get used to the people's voice and which line they would call on, so we'd answer it. Well, you would tell them a real story or something, they go, no. Well, then we started making them up. Oh yeah, we had a guy walk in and he shot his wife and all the kids, and and they go, got anything else?
Wow. Wow.
So it's no secret. That's LA.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. That's what hey, what's the old adage for newspapers? If it bleeds, it leads.
That's true. That's true. Well, I can't believe it. We've covered all my stories. Oh, I have one more. Oh, I don't know if I can get to it from here. Hang on a sec. I don't have my telegram on that. But I had, it was nice that we won at Washoe County today, and the fact that.
Well, they didn't certify that they have questions.
Right.
It's good. There should
be. That's super. That's just super as far as I'm concerned. But I wanted to also share, because I don't know if I shared this story before or not. Let me get into my messages here. Oh, bear with me because I got things loading. Okay, so there is a sheriff, and I might have shared this story already. A San Joaquin sheriff, Patrick Withrow, made some discoveries regarding voter rolls. So if you watch that Washoe County thing today, they were talking a lot. Commissioner Clark was talking about the voter rolls and how bad they are in Washoe County, which I think you guys know that in 2020, that was my first experience with dealing with voter rolls. I looked at the certified election, and then I looked at what Washoe County, each county said, added them all up, and nothing matched. So that was the first indication there was a problem with election results. Then I learned about voter rolls, and there are all sorts of people on there that don't belong.
Well, right. And I think that small businesses and people in marketing understand databases.
Right.
And even the button-us down companies have 10, 15%.
Man.
At least
when I look
that
at
is a tight database.
I'm looking at my computer over there, and that database is not so good.
So when I was sending stuff, I was getting about 90% at my peak, but I had nothing else to do at the time. But what I'm saying is government's probably
Right.
way sloppy and slow.
So this is a sheriff from San Joaquin, which is California. And here are some of his discoveries regarding voter rolls. 93 people registered with the birth date of 1850. 1850. 4,144 voters registered over the age of 90. There are only 10.3 thousand residents over 80 in that county. This number would drop off significantly at 90. Okay, 232 registered at local prisons. And though we allow people to vote in prisons here, apparently they don't in California. 125 registered to a nonprofit NGO or business, 300 voters with no first name, 110 potential double voters, same name, date of birth, and address, but different voter ID numbers. Registered voter named Jesus Christ. Democrats and mainstream media call you conspiracy theorists. Is this sheriff a conspiracy theorist too? And then the suggestion is to multiply this by every county and every state nationwide.
Totally.
And think about what you're facing.
That's exactly the deal.
I mean, and that's why the folks that are always at the Washoe County Commissioners meetings are so frustrated because they found things. They sat down. They aren't getting paid to do this. There's no reward for them other than knowing that when they vote, that it matters and their vote isn't getting canceled out by some other individual that shouldn't be voting. Right? I mean, that's really what this all amounts to. So
totally agree.
It's very frustrating.
But
again, we had a great win today with the Washoe County Commissioners deciding to at least take another look, or if they can't take a look, sending it off to the Secretary of State and making the recommendation to take a look, right? I mean, it's all uncharted territory. They always were told they couldn't say no to this. And for whatever reason, today, somebody decided that they were going to change their mind and do it differently. And so it's good. It's all good, right? Are we happy? Come on, boys. Hey!
Well, we got to live in the moment sometimes, right? You got to live in the moment.
I'm living in the moment.
Yeah. You got to take victories.
Happy.
You got to take victories. I think anything that's just like provides clarity is good, right? I mean, it's not rocket science. It baffles me. They just count votes.
You keep saying that. They don't, though. They don't just count votes.
They're not counting them accurately is what I'm saying, is they're not doing their main job.
Oh, here's an interesting...
They're good at all the other stuff.
I sometimes go through and I just save things in my Telegram messages. Biden and every living former U.S. president, except Donald Trump, are direct descendants of slaveholders. Jimmy Carter, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and through his white mother's side, Barack Obama, according to Reuters special reports. And that's Reuters reporting on that. I thought that was pretty interesting.
So it is, because that just shows that no president was poor. Right?
It's true. How about this? In Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, my brother and sister-in-law lived in Coeur d'Alene for a very short time. Beautiful place, apparently. For the 4th of July, in their parade, they had banned crosses. So I'm looking at a picture, and I wish I could share this, but it's on my phone. They banned them. They have all these people holding crosses walking through the parade because they banned them, right? I mean, how silly is this to ban anything at this point? That
it's imagery.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. Don't ban that stuff. All it does is make people mad, and then they do something to defy you.
Well,
right? I mean, that's just silly.
People end up like getting hurt over the stupidest things, right?
Yep. Okay, so let's see. 462 counties across U.S. where the registration rate exceeded 100%. There were 3,551,760 more people registered to vote than adult U.S. citizens who inhabit these counties. This is just different counties across the United States. That's enough over-registered voters to populate a ghost state about the size of Connecticut. So, the voter rolls are truly the real problem in our communities all across the country. And there are lots of different organizations that are trying to confront this. Even in Nevada, you've got Chuck Muth, who's out there. I don't know if you guys ever get any of his posts, but he's got the Pigpen Project, which is going through the voter rolls and trying to figure out, and get the register our voters to take them off. In California, they had millions taken off. I can't remember the organization that had it happen. And you know what they did? They turned around and put them all back on. So they took them off. Yep. I mean, they went to court, did this whole thing. And then they were part of ERIC, the ERIC system, put it all right back on again.
So to me, if they're accurate, if people care about accuracy, you care about who moves out. And right, I mean, all these overreaching governments don't keep track of like their citizens.
Me and a group of other concerned residents, citizens, we took 300 to the Washoe County Commissioner, or not the commissioners. We took it to the ROV, and the right time frame, the whole thing. She found every reason in the book not to look at them and not to do anything with them. And all they did was talk to the media and write a bad report on us and say how we were trying to purge the voter rolls.
Well, right.
We weren't trying to do any purge. These were people that live in my neighborhood that I knew did not live there anymore, had moved out years before, and they wouldn't take them off the rolls.
Right.
I would like to throw a question out there.
You got a minute.
How many people think that at the upcoming election, there won't be some skullduggery involved?
Well, I think there have been polls, and the larger percentage thinks that there's going to be a problem, that there already are problems.
Well, would you put it past?
I'd put it over 50%.
Yeah.
So you know what's going to happen, I think. We're going to, we
have a short time here.
We're going to have a small red wave, and it's not going to matter because it's going to be a landslide. It's not going to be close, and they're going to sweep it under the rug for 4 more years.
I don't know.
Because it'll be all red.
Hillary thought that too.
I don't know.
Hillary thought she was going to win by a landslide.
Yeah.
No.
Well, this has been a joy. I enjoy being here with you guys and doing our show. It is fun. I wasn't sure how we do this, but I think it's good.
I feel a little bit like Donald Trump with the flag behind me.
You always had the flag at the other place too. Come on, that's why I put you there, because
my head's right there with the stars.
That's right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us, and we will see you next time. And if I can figure out how to end this stream, we will. And then
use your head. Have a clue.
And I promise next time I will bring some WD-40.
There we go. No more squeaks.
And this will not squeak.
There you go.